Hey guys, it's Captain Forest here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over both these combatants to see who would win, more often not, in a cross-verse situation, Mr. Mxy vs. Infinity Gauntlet Thanos. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course, subscribe. Further content. Also, shouts to the Cough Shop gang. They all make awesome content. Their links will be in the description. Also, shouts to HQ Squad. They make awesome content too. Their links will be in the description also. Now, I'm going to go ahead and chop it up, and I'm going to go and talk about Mr. Mxy, and I'm going to go ahead and start off, give you guys kind of like a summarization of the scaling. But yeah, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of things and see what Mr. Mxy proves to the table. Universes in DC Comics are infinitely large. In Pre-Crisis, the narration is even noted and calls the space an infinite vastness. There exists other universes and dimensions within universes. As for geometric spatial dimensions, universes have at least 11 total spatial dimensions. A single universe has one temporal dimension, giving it a linear timeline. Space and time of a single universe are intertwined. There are infinite universes, not just 52/local, not all of them. Every event, from invisibly small to trans-universal, spawns countless realities. Every decision spawns a new universe. DC's cosmology is repeatedly referenced to have a large number of higher spatial dimensions beyond the 11 that make up a single universe. Captain Thunder of Earth 276 crossed realities by folding himself through a 19th dimensional Mobius loop. Metron states, in the context of taking a human through 6-dimensional space, that there are 28 dimensions currently known. Rama Kushner states there are innumerable dimensions. The bleed, also called bleed space, is a dimension that can only be conventionally accessed by moving up through higher dimensions. It is the dimension that contains all universes, serving as the membrane keeping them apart and the bulk encompassing them. Universes grow within the bleed like crystals in solution. It's stated to be pan-dimensional, or of pertaining to all dimensions of reality. The ovary of worlds is the construct encompassing the universes and the bleed between and around them. It also contains the Rock of Eternity and House of Heroes, which exists outside the universes. The Speed Force is a dimension of energy that touches all parts of the ovary. It is described as the limit to matter on the main multiverse map by Grant Morrison. In the Speed Force, time does not exist in a linear fashion. Rather, all past and present exists at once. With the entrance to the time stream visible beyond, the time stream contains all times within the ovary. The Sphere of the Gods is a metaphysical reality whose inhabitants exist on a higher plane of existence than the inhabitants of the infinite realities, infinite higher dimensions, and other structures that make up the ovary of worlds. It's a kind of platonic/archetypal world, the great realm of archetypal powers and intelligences. Realms of the Sphere of the Gods are fictions. The Sphere of the Gods formed around the prior creation made by Perpetua and Alpheus called it fiction. The Sphere of the Gods is the source of magic's true power. Magic is a fundamental power of creation and belief in the multiverse, and is tied to every aspect of existence. While mortal realities are made of matter and space and time, all realms in the Sphere of the Gods are made of raw potential in the void and are simply given shape based on belief and narrative. Magic is a fundamental power of creation and belief in the multiverse, and is tied to every aspect of existence. Limbo is the furthest edge of the manifest DC universe. The manifest DC universe means the story of the material multiverse and all other planes which are below Limbo, like the Sphere of the Gods and so on. There are no stories in Limbo except for the Book of Infinite Pages, which contains every story of creation. By definition, and it is explicitly stated to be so, this means that Limbo has no space and no time. Much like the Sphere of the Gods, it goes one step further into nothingness. However, since the sphere of the gods is made of story, while comic book limbo does not even have that. The monitor sphere is located beyond the multiverse, the sphere of the gods, and even the comic book limbo. It's an archetypal realm and fundamental world where everything is more profound and absolute, and was described as a realm where form and meaning surrender to the overvoid. The source wall surrounding the entire DC multiverse, separating it from the overvoid. It exists in all realms and transacts all dimensions. Then we have the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is described as existing everywhere, and that it's outside of time, which is the name of the fourth dimension. Mr. Mxy in particular has shown himself to scale directly to the fifth dimension, destroying it without any effort in World's Funniest. This all makes sense when you consider that Mr. Mxy is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, fifth dimensional imp. So Mr. Mxy is well known for his plot hacks. He's demonstrated this ability to go outside of the comic itself. He can manipulate physics, and he also was able to make Superman to where he was just a fictional Toon Force character. Mxy gave his power to Emperor Joker, and Emperor Joker used that power to turn the Justice League into his own image. This just goes to show what Mxy is capable of doing to people, which is demonstrated through Joker's actions, which is still impressive. And it's also been demonstrated in Justice League 2018. Mr. Mxy has shown to completely unmake the art and plot of the comic, which is very impressive. Mr. Mxy can also use reality warping, such as being able to give inanimate objects such as buildings and cars life. He was able to do this to which were cars, the Justice League. Mr. Mxy's reality warping is so potent that it's even able to reality warp John Stewart's hand and lantern ring, turning it into a giant boxing glove, and then he proceeds to dissolve his arm into particles. Okay, so that's going to round up Mr. Mxy. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Infinity Gauntlet Thanos and see what he brings to the table. So, classic Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet was able to completely embarrass the Celestials and the Universal Embodies, who were no match for him. Even Galactus notes he does not have the AP to deal with Thanos with the Gauntlet. Even the Hell-Lord Mephisto admits he would get one shot by the Gauntlet and would be no match for its power. Adam Warlock even notes that even with their combined forces, it is nothing compared to the Infinity Gauntlet that Thanos was wielding. The Living Tribunal notes inside the Dimension of Manifestation that if he clashed with Adam Warlock, who was armed with the Infinity Gauntlet, it would lay waste to the reality. So for starters, I will need to talk about the In-Betweener. The In-Betweener notes he is everything and nothing, a concept of a concept which is easily altiversal. Quasar describes the drones as infinities, and that the embodies like the Living Tribunal, Eternity, and Oblivion, the drones, are almost human next to the infinities. Now we look at the Dimension of Manifestation, where there are numerous embodies, each implied to be at the different level. We know this because the full scan where this numerous embodies is stated is when Quasar is at the trial of Adam Warlock, something that took place in the Oversphere. This means the Dimension of Manifestation contains levels of embodies, not just infinite embodies. We are later told that higher manifestations of embodies are greater infinities compared to Cosmos and Cubic. Using this, we can say that the difference between each embody is more than an unimaginable difference between the Cosmic Cube Beyonder and Cubic, and the fact that Cubic notes that there are levels to infinity, implying all of their existence, means that the gap is so massive between classic embodies happens more than an infinite number of times before you get to their true forms. Now, when it comes to levels of reality, Doctor Strange notes that there are beyond infinite amounts. Now again, the Dimension of Manifestation contains the appearance of all embodies no matter what level of reality they are. So there is a beyond infinite number of levels to reality, each with M bodies at a different level, shown as they are at a different level for different levels of reality, and it includes overspace as such. Now let's go ahead and dive into more of the Infinity Gauntlet and the stones themselves. The user who has access to the Infinity Gauntlet controls all aspects of time, reality, space, power, soul, and mind. Thanos has mastery over the Infinity Gauntlet and is the perfect user of the gauntlet. He would upscale and be above other inexperienced users such as Nebula and Captain America and other lesser users of the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, the gauntlet comes with a number of hexes. They can also be used simultaneously too, like the iconic and infamous Thanos snap, which erases you from existence, which he was able to perform this on billions of people. In fact, the stones have outerversal range, at least, as it wasn't just affecting the Earth and other planets, it was also affecting Asgard and its people. It shattered the Rainbow Bridge and trapped Odin and the other Skyfathers, preventing them from going to Midgard. Now I'm going to go over the Infinity Gems. I'm going to start with the Space Stone. The Space Stone allows the user to manipulate space any way they see fit. Its most basic function allows the user to teleport themselves and others to any place they picture in their mind. It increases the user's speed and allows them to create black holes and manipulate gravity and fly. The user can create portals to spy on people, and they can also BFR people via portal creation, and the Space Stone allows them to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The Reality Stone allows the user to warp reality to their wishes and is considered to be the most dangerous gem. Basic functions of the stone allows the user to perform things such as reviving the dead, distorting reality. It's also shown that the Reality Stone can transmutate people, turning them into glass or any other materials. It's shown to create universes, and it can also perform plot hacks as the narratives are connected to space-time, and the IG controls all aspects of time, space, mind, soul, power, and reality. It's shown when Gamora uses the Reality Stone to merge the Avengers' soul and fold the universe. She then creates a new reality and pretty much seals them in that new reality as the heroes are changed, and the Reality Stone also contains the Whirlpool within, which contains multiple realities and narratives inside the stone. The user can also bend and affect the fabric of reality, and it can also erase people from existence. It can heal wounds, it can perform sleep hacks, and the Reality Stone is by far the most versatile stone out of the others. When combined with the Time Stone, it allows the user to view the actions of others and all possible which will take place, and it allows them to stay steps ahead. Now moving on to the Time Stone. The Time Stone allows the user to stop time, reverse, or fast forward time. It can age people to an old person or reduce them to an infant. The user can create time loops and loop themselves in time, which they will experience events many times over, giving them many steps ahead into the future and know how the events occur. They can edit or change any events to their liking, and it makes them very difficult to kill, as they can time travel back into the past or to the future. Ghost Rider used the Time Stone to time travel millions of years into the future, and also travel back in time to kidnap baby Thanos. So the users can perform acausality hacks with the Time Stone, and the user can also BFR people back into the past. And the stone also grants the user resistance to time manipulation, as Kronos' time hacks did not work on Thanos. Now moving on to the Power Gem. The Power Gem greatly increases the user's stamina, endurance, attack potency, and destructive capabilities, and gives them control over power. It also boosts the other gems, making them more potent when combined, and the user can also power null and strip people of their own power. Thanos was able to best Mephisto in his own realm, and Mephisto is more powerful inside his realm, and the Power Stone also amps the user's depending on how much rage they have in them, so they can amp themselves by giving themselves a rage amp, and the stone amplifies it even more, which is very impressive. The mind gem grants the user psionic powers such as telepathy and telekinesis. The mind gem is the collective unconscious, which contains the mind of the entire universe. If the user happens to already possess telepathic powers, the mind stone also amplifies those already established powers. The stone gives the user many versatile abilities that telepaths can perform. And last but not least, the soul gem. The soul gem allows the user to manipulate souls in life. The soul gem itself exists on a higher plane of reality, and it contains a metaphysical world inside of it, which is insane. It literally contains a multiverse, which is crazy. The soul stone is able to steal the spiritual essence from people, and it can beify the souls inside the soul gem. The user will create a connection with the soul gem, granting them the memories, skills, and knowledge of others that the stone has absorbed. It can fire spiritual energy, which affects the soul, and it can also de-evolve people or revert them back from abnormalities. Okay, so that's going to round up both these combatants. Now, I'm going to go ahead, talk about some things, and give my thoughts on who I think wins more often than not in this cross-verse situation. Now, depending on what scaling you give both these combatants, so if we was to highball or give the better scaling, the boundless scaling for Mr. Mxy, and we only award the infinite hierarchies into high altiversal for Infinity Gauntlet Thanos, then pretty much Mr. Mxy would take victory. It'd be beyond him, it'd be on a higher tier. There's nothing the Gauntlet can do to Mr. Mxy because of basically just how more fundamental and how powerful Mr. Mxy would be. He'd be on a completely different tier if we was to go about the situation through those means. However, if we do it the opposite way, then of course Thanos would take victory if we give that Gauntlet boundless scaling. Now if we meet in the middle, of course, if we both go off their high altiversal scaling, then of course Infinity Gauntlet Thanos would take victory. In that department he'd have the AP edge, and of course the stones are very hacksy. He'd just be higher into the tier, in infinite hierarchies into high altiversal. The plot hacks, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. Like Mr. Mxy's plot hacks isn't going to really be an issue. In fact, Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet would just clap back with his own plot hacks, his layered plot hacks. In fact, he would abuse all of the hacks with the stones. He'd create multiple time loops, and he would just confuse Mr. Mxy and make Mr. Mxy think that he's changing the plot on Thanos and think it's actually doing anything, but it's not. In fact, for those who don't know, the Infinity Gauntlet actual story, like the actual plot itself, is inside the Reality Stone, which is hilarious. So I just think because of the crazy layers and the amount of hexes and protection that the Gauntlet grants to Thanos, I think that's going to be a huge issue, and I see Thanos taking victory through those means. Thanks to the Gauntlet's high potency, just has way too many hexes, way too much versatility, way too many layers, just way too much for Mr. Mxy. Now, even if we apply the boundless scaling for both combatants, it'd just be the same thing as the second round. They'd both, one would be more higher into the tier, and then it would just come down to the hexes and what one combatant can do in this situation, and just be rinse and repeat for Thanos, of course. So more often than not, with some difficulty, maybe not much, I do personally lean a little bit more so with Thanos. I think Thanos takes victory with the Gauntlet more often than not. Now if he didn't have the Gauntlet, I think the fight would be a lot more interesting. Could argue Mxy would probably do a lot better in that situation. He'd probably take victory more often than not if it came down to just base, but that's just down to your interpretation or what you want to, what your thoughts are pretty much in that regard. The Gauntlet is just built different. But yes, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And of course, it's Muriel. See you guys in the next one. Peace.